Hi. The next question. Which of the following statements are correct? CS3, this structure, it is 2-methyl propene. 2-methyl 1-propene or simply 2-methyl propene is less stable than trans-2-butene. That is trans-2-butene. Okay. One. See, on the first look, we feel that this is sterically crowded, this is less sterically crowded, so we expect this to be more stable than this, but the fact is contrary. This is thermodynamically more stable than this. Why? See, consider the hyperconjugation in both of these cases. When this hyperconjugate that will be its hyperconjugative structure. And suppose that is hyperconjugative. In the same way. Here, see this negative charge, this carbanion end is not destabilized. But here, the plus psi effect of this methyl group there destabilizes the carbanion, and so this is less stable. It happens, and here the carbanion is destabilized by the plus psi effect of the methyl group. Destabilized by plus psi effects of methyl group that intensify the negative charge. Negative charge. So, due to that reason, that is the accepted reason. Due to that reason, this structure is less favorable compared to this. So, even though steric crowding is a matter here, that's a fact. There is more steric crowding. But instability arising due to this factor is the actual deciding factor. Quantitatively, that is the more decisive factor. That's why this is less stable than this. So, this statement is wrong. See, while I discuss, I write everything on the board that you may repeat seeing the video again. In the second time, you can carefully watch what all are written here. So, when I say things and you didn't capture in the same speed, you can later re-verify and check what I have written. So, this is the reason why statement 1 is wrong. Now statement 2. Benzene, we know that It's an intermediate. I'm not entering into its mechanism of formation, etc. We normally expect that these two carbon will be sp hybridized. But the fact is that both these are sp2. All carbon sp2. Even though it is a triple bond, all the carbons are sp2 there, because if it is sp, see, think about the angle strain from 180 to 120, 60-degree bend will happen there. That would make the molecule highly unstable. So all carbons retain sp2 hybridization. Retain sp2 hybridization. So in benzene, two carbons are sp hybridization is another wrong statement. Third thing, 2KClO3 giving upon heating, actually heating is there. In the presence of catalyst of manganese dioxide solid, 2KCl solid plus 3 O2 gas is a homogeneous catalysis. The reactant is a solid, catalyst is also a solid. So naturally one may tend to think that it is a homogeneous catalysis, whereas it is not. This is because two solids normally won't remain as a homogeneous mixture. A homogeneous mixture always means thorough mixing up to molecular level. If A and B are mixed in equal amount, in the mixture, after every A molecule there must be one B, then A, then B. That much thorough must be the mixing. Up to molecular level things might be mixed. But when you powder two solids for the whole of your lifetime, it won't become homogeneous, because even the specks remaining there will contain countless number of atoms or molecules. So they haven't mixed together. So that's why we say that two solids will not form a homogeneous mixture except when you melt them together to make them a liquid. Once they are made into a liquid, they themselves get homogenized, then solidify it, as happened during the formation of alloys. Then only two solids form a homogeneous mixture like alloys. But in chemical reaction, there is hardly any chance that two solids are melted together and then resolidify along with the chemical reaction. So, when the catalyst is a solid, catalysis is never homogeneous. When the catalyst is a solid, catalysis is never homogeneous, whatever be the physical state of the reactants. Okay, so that is another wrong statement. Then, when Fe3O4 changes from magnetite crystal to spinel, Fe3 plus migrates from tetrahedral void to octahedral void. First we understand what is Fe3O4's actual structure. Listen here. Fe3O4 is actually Fe2O3 FeO. It's a mixed oxide. It is a mixed oxide. And so it has 2 Fe3 plus ion, 1 Fe2 plus ion, and 4 O2 minus ion. Okay. Now, 4 O2 minus ions form an FCC, lattice with the 4 octahedral voids and 8 tetrahedral voids. Okay, 4 octahedral voids and 8 tetrahedral voids. And Among these ions, now we come to the magnetite and spinel packing. Magnetite, spinel, two different packings. See, the bigger Fe2 plus forms to bigger octahedral void. Bigger Fe2 plus goes to bigger octahedral void, whereas smaller Fe3 plus, there are two Fe3 plus ion, they both don't go to the smaller tetrahedral void, but one in OV, one in TV. It is the way it gets arranged. So remember, I repeat, one in OV, I repeat, the 4 O2 minus forms FCC, thereby generating 4 octahedral void and 8 tetrahedral void. The bigger Fe2 plus, as expected, goes to octahedral void. Out of the two smaller Fe3 plus ion, being smaller, both are not going to tetrahedral void. One goes to OV, other goes to TV. Why? Because that gives it better stability. That's the only reason. Okay. Now when it changes to tetrahedral void, the change happening is that one Fe2 plus and one Fe3 plus mutually change their position. Listen carefully. One Fe3 plus and one, it is a mutual exchange of position. Then suppose you forgot which are those two. You can easily find out. You know why? See, if these two changes position, practically we won't even know they have changed their position because both of them are Fe3 plus. Fe3 plus versus Fe3 plus change is not a change. So that is not the case. Then Fe2 plus in OV and Fe3 plus in OV, that mutually exchanged. Then they continue to be both in OVs, no? So that is also not the case. Then the only possibility remaining is Fe2 plus in OV changes position with the Fe3 plus in TV. You got that? So what happened? Fe2 plus now become occupying tetrahedral void. Fe2, the bigger one, occupies the smaller void, whereas 2 Fe3 plus both in OV. Both in OV. What it happened like that? Think about it. See, exchange is between Fe2 plus in OV and Fe3 plus in TV. When they exchange their position, what happened? Fe3 plus become present in OV. So both the Fe3 plus are now in OV. The bigger Fe2 plus occupy the smaller void TV. That is called spinel packing. Okay. Now come back to the statement. Fe3 plus migrate from tetrahedral void to octahedral void. Both, yeah, it is correct. Fe3 plus, actually it is a mutual exchange, but here it is saying Fe3 plus migrates from tetrahedral void to octahedral void, so that both are in octahedral void. So that is a correct statement. Okay. Okay. And the last one. Benzene rarely undergoes nucleophilic substitution because H minus is a bad leaving group. See, we know Fe2 plus, benzene usually undergoes electrophilic substitution. Usually undergoes electrophilic substitution like Cl plus giving you chlorobenzene plus H plus, because H plus is a good leaving group. What is meant by good leaving group? Good leaving group is a stable leaving group. But why don't it undergo a reaction like this? Suppose cyanide ion. You don't get benzonitrile plus H minus. Why? H minus is a bad leaving group. Bad leaving group. Bad leaving group means unstable leaving group. So H minus won't take that risk. This reaction will not happen. Better, cyanide ion is more stable than H minus. So they prefer to remain as on the reactant side and not on the product side. H minus is less stable. So this reaction will not happen just because H minus is a bad leaving group compared to H plus. Benzene rarely undergo nucleophilic substitution because H minus is a bad leaving group is a correct statement. So the first three are incorrect statement. The next two are correct statement. See, while we discuss this question, it doesn't mean the same question appears. No, it's not because of that. Ideas involved in these explanations may come as part of one of the question. That is the possibility. That's why we incorporate maximum ideas into the question. New ideas, probably less familiar to you. Okay, you got that? Okay.